Hanging out, just hanging out. I've got a chat box open that you can go on and send me questions. I've been indoors all day, as I'm sure many of you have, so I can't report to you anything too exciting that's been going on. But it's certainly been interesting. It's interesting because as a writer, I'm used to being isolated. Let's see. Oh, I see it. People are already showing up. Hi, it's good to see you. It's nice to see everybody's on there. And it's nice to be around. Hey, Ashlyn, I see you. Is that it? Ashlyn? Yeah. Hey, Clavin, this is so cool. That's really nice. I think this is great stuff. Hi from Georgia, from Patrick Dyer. Did I kill the spider? Kimberly, I made the spider up. I had to say something. I'm running out of coronavirus satires, but hopefully they'll find a cure before I stop figuring out more jokes. But I've been indoors all day. I'm working away. Hey, Morgan, good to see you. Senior Clavin, yes. Jonathan Rumpf, senior, stay well. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, all of these measures that we're taking are all meant to save the Clavin, to keep me alive, because once we lose me, we got nothing. I mean, that's just all there is to it. I mean, it's me. Greetings from Los Angeles. Hey, Golda, Edward. This is really nice. This is like actually having some company in the midst of our isolation. Here's a conservative Jew, Brandon Goldman, dabbling in the New Testament. What book should I start with? I would start with the Gospels. I would start with John, the Gospel of John, or the Gospel of Mark. Either one. The simplest one is Mark, and the most complex and interesting for me one is John. A lot of people tell you to start with Paul's letter to the Romans, which is where the theology comes in. But I like to get it straight from Jesus. I mean, I'm not as big a Paul guy as I am a Jesus guy. And so I would say the Gospels, and it's great stuff. Cheers from Fort Collins, Colorado, from Edward. Save the Clavin. I like these Save the Clavins. You're thinking in the right way. You're thinking in the right way, because we want to make sure when all the smoke is cleared, the thing we want to make sure of is that I am still here. Here's a question from Mark. Howdy, Drew. Have you played any of the Civilization games or just strategy games in general? I played the Civilization games so long ago that you couldn't actually build the Civilization because we hadn't gotten that far. We were still like writing on walls. But I played them and I really enjoyed them, but I haven't played them since, and I wouldn't mind getting back to them. They're kind of interesting. I love mostly, what I love more than anything, I like the Twitch games like Mario and things like that, but I also love these puzzle games like Limbo. And Inside was a recent one. Braid was another one where you could make time go back and forth. I just love that stuff. And I love the fact that somehow, even though they're usually very simple, they're usually indies, they kind of just suck you in and they get you. I think it's this puzzle solving thing. I have noticed that when I solve puzzles, I love puzzles. I've noticed that when I solve puzzles and when I write, the same thing happens to my brain. So I think the two things are connected. I go into a sort of alpha state. I just feel really at peace and really where I'm supposed to be. Certain kinds of puzzles, cryptic crossword puzzles I love, and some of these things like Limbo and things like that. So I just love that stuff. But I also love shooting at things and killing vampires and stuff like that. Am I going to write another Kingdom sequel? No, I think 3 books is enough. I think 3 books is plenty. It's a good story. I was really happy with it, first to last. And the second book just came out, so you should buy the book, The Nightmare Feast. But I've been working on nonfiction, which a book that's been in my mind a long time. So I've been writing about that. I've been writing today about the poet William Wordsworth, who is somebody that I identify with, not in terms of genius. I mean, Wordsworth was no Clavin. I mean, let's be honest. But he was a guy who started out as a radical, started out loving the French Revolution. He was the one who wrote the famous line, "Bliss was it in this dawn, to be alive, but to be young was very heaven." And then when everything went kablooey, when the revolution turned into the terror, because the revolution was like the 60s, they thought they were going to rewrite the world. And when everything turned into the terror and World War, Wordsworth said no, and he became a conservative, and he became a Christian. And people hated him for it. They wrote poems poems about him, what a dope he was. They hated him. They felt he was he was a little bit of a pompous ass because he was a very impressive, overbearing figure. But anyway, it's just I feel like I walk into I have this little outhouse in the back. It's about the size of an outhouse, but it's my writing room. And I go in there, I feel like I disappear into the 18th century, and then I come back, and everybody's still in the same state they were in when I left. From Julie, will I please pray for my daughter to make it home from England? Yeah, she's in school. They're trying to get home. Absolutely. And here's Fred A. says, Cleveland is greater than Knowles. That's like